I feel like the fight gets harder and harder the longer it goes on. You know, I never would have thought that when Grenfell happened, 5 years on, we would be in the situation that we'd be in today. You know, I didn't think that we'd be in the situation that we would have been in a month or two after Grenfell. But, you know, you learn, we've learned a lot throughout this journey. Learned things that I wish I didn't learn. I've seen the world for what it is. And it's a very ugly place. And I've almost lost faith in humanity for various different reasons. And I mean, we've lost our families, we've lost our homes, and we're still made to feel like we've been put in this position where if you want justice, you have to fight for it. If you want people to be safe, you have to fight for it. If you want positive changes so that this doesn't happen again, you have to fight for it. If you want to make sure that your loved ones are not being remembered the way that they are today, which is by a culture of neglect and corruption and greed, you have to fight for it. And that's not fair, that's not right, you know? We are still coming to terms with trying to find a new level of normality. And I'm starting to think, you know, maybe that's never going to happen. So it's been incredibly frustrating that we're still having to do the things that we're doing today in order to get some changes. And if you really look at it, if you look at sort of the big picture and the grand scheme of things, what has actually changed in 5 years? Can another Grenfell happen tomorrow? Yes, it can. And if it does, are people safe? No, they're not. Do our firefighters have the right equipment and training to save people? No, they don't. What have we done? What have we learned since Grenfell? And when you look at it, nothing. This is torture. We are being tortured. We can't move on. We can't grieve. We can't rebuild. I mean, as much as we're trying to, but when everything is so up in the air, I mean, when you look at the police investigation and having to wait another 4 or 5 years before we see any charges, and the way that they've collected evidence or didn't collect any evidence, and then the public inquiry, okay, you know, we didn't have that much trust and faith in the beginning, but we do now. Recommendations, 3 years in October it's going to be since the phase 1 recommendations, and yet nothing's been implemented. So it's like they're torturing us on purpose. Even I would go as far as to say that we're being tortured on purpose. It's almost like they want us to either run away, try to forget, or just consume ourselves with just this mental trauma that they're doing to us. And we'd go away or deem unfit to continue to fight. Because that's exactly what's happening right now. We are being tortured. The government are doing nothing about what's happened. The police are... I have no faith in the criminal investigation. And as we said before, 5 years later, no changes. People are still unsafe. A Grenfell 2, if you will, is going to happen if things stay the same. And that's torture.